Hello everybody, welcome to the European Parliament for our June session. It's very hot and muggy here. I know we've had some nice weather in the UK, so we're having some nice weather here too, but we're expecting a big storm. Not just a storm outside with the weather, but we're currently engaged in a huge storm inside, still around the multi-annual financial framework budget to you and me. As you know, an agreement was reached earlier this year for a reduction in the budget, but as yet Parliament has not agreed this reduction. We Conservatives voted for it consistently, but it's still not officially agreed, and this is now causing a lot of problems. It's causing problems with finalising a lot of dossiers, a lot of legislative files which are really very important to the UK. The first one, of course, is the Common Agricultural Policy. Now, we all know that 45% of the EU budget is tied up in this policy, and whilst that is pretty offensive to most of us, the deal that we've got on the table and one that we're supporting would actually reduce that over a period of 5 years to 36%, which is a significant move forward. I mean, obviously we'd like to see it much lower than that, but we have to make sure that that's a fair, level playing field across Europe. We're certainly not going to withdraw it from UK farmers when French, Italian, German farmers would have it, and we wouldn't be able to compete in the single market. So unfortunately, we're struggling along trying to resolve these Common Agricultural Policy files. The view here is that we really need to get them resolved while we have the Irish in the presidency. That's to the end of June. After that, Lithuania, a very small country, takes over, and there's significant doubt about whether they would have the administrative capability to resolve a deal. So keep your fingers crossed on that one. We're certainly involved in lots of meetings here, trialogues, sometimes late into the night, and we're doing our best to resolve it. Piece of good news, of course, is we have managed to resolve the Common Fisheries Policy. Parliament last week agreed a position. We get rid of discards with a small what's known as a de minimis clause, which means discards will be allowed in certain circumstances, but it's very, very strictly controlled. And those circumstances will be around things like if fish move and migrate in the water, so you're fishing for herring and unexpectedly you collect cod, that would be allowed to be discarded, but only once. And then you would be expected to move to where the herring are. As you know, fishing boats these days have very sophisticated equipment aboard them, and they can do that. I'm working on something called the European Fishing Fund. This is an amount of money which is there to help fishermen. In the past, it's been used for some discredited issues like scrapping, and we all know that certain countries scrap fishing boats and then they simply buy bigger ones. With public money. This is not what we want to be happening. We're trying to get it strictly controlled so that that money only goes towards helping fishing communities in other ways. And most significantly, the two things we're really pushing for are money to help fishermen change their gear so that they can comply with the selective gear requirements that are needed to ban discards. After all, if you're going to say to someone you cannot catch X or Y species, they need to have the gear on board to ensure that that doesn't happen. So we're very keen that that's a priority, and we're very keen that we get a priority on creating good scientific information, and indeed using fishermen to do that. In the past, their information has not been used, and we would like to see that integrated into the system. And we have also secured a deal whereby regional decisions are made rather than those in Brussels about catch quotas, etc. So all in all, it's not a perfect deal, whatever is, but we do think it's a very good deal and certainly much better for both British fishermen and the fish in our sea. So those are the two big issues for us here in Strasbourg this week, and I hope you have a really good June and look forward to speaking to you for our last session in July.